No. Funny we don't know about this at the local precinct.
It's mostly FBI. They ran in a few of us from Indiana.
I see. Thought you might be crooks.
Can't tell the difference, huh?
Sometimes it's hard to tell the difference, buddy.
What you mad about, Joe?
That cop. Can't tell the difference.
Oh, forget him.
Gets under my skin. I chased criminals for 20 years. I end up looking like one. We got the biggest crook of all in a theater. Got him surrounded. But you can't tell him from a cop without a scorecard.
Oh, get off that kind of talk, will you?
You think this being a cop is a great, big, beautiful life, don't you?
I don't know.
Well, I agree with you, Gold. Get out of this racket. It's Sunday night. You ought to be in a church somewhere instead of here with me, waiting at a big plate glass window for John Dillinger to come out of a theater. You ought to be in bed.
I wouldn't worry about it.
Let me tell you something. Mind?
No.
My daughter's 17. She brought home a young kid the other night. Young fella. Nervous. First one she brought home. So she introduced us, and he sat down. Finally, he said, "Well, what do you do for a living, sir?" And I said, "I'm a cop." Then he looks at me, startled, sudden, like people look at cops as if, do you slug them in the kidneys where it won't leave a bruise? Are you stacking away hush money? How many criminals call you by your first name? And's right, kid. Get out. You mess with criminals, you get dirty.
That's my job, Joe.
Hero, huh?
Maybe I will be.
Well, I'll tell you who the hero is. Johnny.
Dillinger?
When he dies, thousands will stand in line to see his body. They'll mob the cops that kill him. Wait and see.
I don't believe you.
Go down the street to the theater. Have you seen that movie?
What's on?
Manhattan Melodrama. I saw it uptown. It's a crime picture. Johnny come all the way to this little theater down here. Planted. Had to, because somebody tipped off the FBI that he'd be here. Come down here to this little theater to see it because he knew that it was going to make him feel good to see how everybody likes a good, solid, gay, happy, everyday, superior criminal. Get out, kid. People don't like cops.
I've seen movies. Crime movies that say crime doesn't pay.
Oh, they mustn't say it good. Or they wouldn't be playing to John Dillinger.
10:20, boss. The last time they had Dillinger surrounded, he shot his way out, remember?
Yes.
How does it feel to be a few minutes away from taking Dillinger?
Feels all right. Like we're capturing, isolating something that went wrong, that never developed. That just ate away at society instead of contributing to it. Just ate away like a rat in a corn bin. Served no good purpose. It'll be like capturing and isolating something that might have been useful, but isn't. To save society, which is valuable. There was a laundry truck that passed at 10:22, about the time a young lady who liked Clark Gable came out of the theater. She'd seen the movie since 4 o'clock and had decided she should go home, perhaps come back the next afternoon. The waitress in the restaurant said she wanted to go home, too, but she said that the restaurant was supposed to stay open until 11 o'clock. She'd worked in that restaurant for 4 years, and she was getting tired of it. She said nothing ever happens around here. Same old routine, night after night. Same dinners, she said. Never any action around here. At 10:25, a strange and interesting hush came over Lincoln Avenue. The cars moved, as always. But there were many people who did not hear them, whose entire attention was on the theater. The theater.
Almost time for the movie to be out, Collins.
It's not quite 10:30, Claire.
They're definitely watching the theater, Collins.
Sure they are.
You see that man over there with the Coke machine at the garage?
Uh-huh.
That's his 5th Coca-Cola tonight.
They've been here a long time.
Collins, don't stand up.
Why not, honey?
Sit down, please. They might shoot.
Oh.
Sit down, please.
All right, Claire.
You just stay down. If you lean over a little bit to the side, the edge of the window will help protect you.
From what, honey?
Oh, I don't know, but you ought to be protected. It's almost time for the movie to let out.
You'll see people fighting to get one look at him.
I don't believe it.
People tearing each other apart.
I'm tired of hearing you talk, Joe.
Why?
Because you see so much of the dirty humanity, you think all humanity is dirty.
You're looking at me like that boy my daughter brought
You've
up.
lost faith.
I've got all the faith people deserve.
No, you haven't. You just haven't.
Then stay. Get like me. You'll see tonight. We have to shoot Dillinger. The people will show you who the people's hero is. They'll tear each other apart just to be able to touch Johnny's body. Just wait around, kid. You'll see.
Let's get out.
Out of the car?
The men can see me give the signal better if we stand on the sidewalk. It's cool, isn't it?
Yeah. 10:32. What if it ain't Johnny?
I'm the one that gives the signal. It's my decision.
Yes, sir.
It's Johnny's shoulders.
They're standing right down there, just standing.
Looking towards the theater.
Is it time yet, Collins, for the movie to be out?
Oh, it's past time. They'll let out about 10:30, don't it?
Oh, I feel I'll have to call the police
Oh, it won't do
again.
any good, Claire.
Man across the street is coming over to the curb.
Yeah.
Look, down there in the doorway. They're changing their positions.
Yeah.
Collins,
Yes, honey?
you're holding my hand.
Oh.
Oh, it's all right. Seems like because of what's going on out there, you and me are closer in this room than we ever been before. Like it makes everything we've been fighting about seem so little. Are you sure the door's locked?
Oh, it's locked, don't you remember?
Something terrible is going to happen, Collins. Maybe we ought to leave.
I can't leave. Can you?
No. I know I ought to leave. I shouldn't watch. It's going to be terrible, Collins.
I know it is, honey.
I'd like to leave, but I don't want...
I don't either.
There, Collins, there.
Yes.
People coming out.
Blinking their eyes, rubbing their eyes. They're theater people.
It's over. They're coming out now, Collins. The men down there are just standing, watching.
Yeah, I see.
Talking, you see.
They keep their hands in their pockets. That man over there, you see.
Maybe they have a gun.
Crooks, cheap crooks, going to kill somebody. But who? Who, Claire?
Oh, I don't know. I wish I knew. I'd yell. I'd warn
It
them.
might be any one of those people.
Might be that nice young man coming out of the theater now. That there, with those two pretty girls, see? The man in the white shirt and the pretty tie. Nice fella. He reminds me of someone I know. Might even be him they're going to shoot. They're looking at him, Collins, you see? They're moving toward him, Collins, that nice young man.
Claire, you all right?
Yes, I'm all right.
I was real afraid for you. Ain't that strange? After 20 years, I was still afraid for you.
Collins, they shot him.
I know, right before my eyes.
It was the most terrible thing I ever saw. Don't let me look anymore, Collins.
All right, hold the crowd back.
They're crazy, Chief. Good Lord, they're out of their mind.
Hold him back. Get back. Turn Johnny over. Take his gun out of his hand. You shouldn't have tried to draw, Johnny. It was your last mistake.
3 slugs in him, Chief. You'll never see morning.
Bring around the ambulance.
2 pedestrians wounded in the leg, sir.
Take care of him. See if Johnny has a ring on his left hand, third finger.
Yes, sir, he has.
Gold with the ruby?
Yes, sir.
I told you it was Johnny.
In there, Chief.
What's the matter with him?
He won't talk to anybody. When Johnny turned out there and started pulling the gun out, the kid fired right through the door.
Well, what's the matter with
He
him?
won't say.
Hey, Harold. What's the matter?
They're just like Joe there said. They're animals.
Who?
People. I saw them out there putting their handkerchiefs down in Johnny's blood. Just to save some of it.
Forget it.
How can you forget it? They'll be at Johnny's funeral. Thousands.
So?
And who are we hiding around in doorways, setting traps like criminals?
Catch a rat, you set a trap.
Get to be like them. Sometimes even we can't tell a cop from a crook.
A man can tell himself from a crook. Now snap out of it.
Don't be too hard on him, Chief. It's, well, his girl figures somehow, and he shot first, the very first.
I know, I saw it. Look, son, listen to me. Maybe I can say something that'll help you to understand the people out there. Look at me, I said.
Yeah?
You ought to know something about people. You ought to know they don't like authority, rules, laws. Haven't you ever heard them yell, kill the umpire? Don't you know Americans like Jesse James, not the sheriff or the posse?
Sure. So what?
So that's part of the way we are. Of course, you can't live in a country like this without rules, laws, police, the military. But don't expect people to fall all over us with happiness whenever they see us. We represent what binds and restricts and chafes.
Is that why people out there are weeping over Johnny's body?
That's part of it. Then, too, there's the reason that Dillinger was colorful, famous, big, the #1 criminal in America.
Looks like that'd make them hate him more.
Does it? Well, when I was a boy out on the farm, I remember killing a rat. A big one. The biggest I'd ever seen. And my mother almost fainted. My father was almost sick. It was the biggest, ugliest rat I ever saw. We took that rat down the road to Jamerson's and showed it to the old man. He called his sons. It was the biggest rat they'd ever seen. And we took it all over that part of the county. The next day, people came from far away as Topton to see it. The biggest rat ever seen. Why people came, I don't know, except people are like that. But don't think they liked it. Don't think they wanted one. Don't think they wanted to be one. Sure, there'll be thousands at Johnny's funeral for one reason or another. Maybe I'll go. Maybe you ought to go.
Me? Why?
Because he's one of the biggest rats in the world. One of the biggest rats anybody, anywhere, ever saw. And you killed him.
Any resemblance in our characters to Chief Melvin Purvis or the late Inspector Samuel P. Coley or to their FBI men or to the Chicago, Indiana policemen who are with them or to any other person is coincidental. But basic facts connected with the incident of the Dillinger death are from the Federal Bureau of Investigation report. American Adventure is written by John Ely, directed by John Clayton, produced by the Communication Center of the University of North Carolina. American Adventure is a study of man in the New World, his values and his characteristics, who he is, what he believes. The series is made possible by the National Association of Educational Broadcasters and the Fund for Adult Education, an independent agency established by the Ford Foundation. In The Rat on Lincoln Avenue, Edith Sanford was the woman. Charles Hadley was her husband. Charles Kuralt was the boss. Earl Wren was his assistant. Bill Waddell was the Chicago, Indiana cop. John Ely was the kid, and Joe Gershevsky was the waitress. This is Carl Castle. American Adventure is produced and recorded by the University of North Carolina on the campus at Chapel Hill.
Easy Street can be more than just an expression to you. It can be a way of living. Start planning for it today. Begin buying United States savings bonds. Next, the news. Then X-1 on the NBC Radio Network.